In the 90s, Sega and Nintendo were duking it out between each other with the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, both of which had their great titles, but in the late 90s, they were trying to delve into the 3D industry. Nintendo swoops in first with Rareware, releasing Donkey Kong Country in 1996, using actual 3D rendering technology. What did Sega have? Well, let's just say it's something Sega probably doesn't even remember anymore. The game is Vectorman, and it was developed not only by Sega, but a company known as Blue Sky Interactive. Not that Blue Sky. Or that Blue Sky. Christ, there's so many Blue Skies now, what the hell? The plot is pretty simple. By 2049, Earth has become a toxic waste dump, and rather than clean up the mess themselves, humanity created a bunch of robots named Orbots to do the work for them. Typical. Tragedy strikes, however, when one of the Orbots accidentally welds a active nuclear warhead on top of their leader, leading to the birth of a new tyrant with one goal in mind: to kill all of humanity in revenge for what they've done to the Orbot race. Warhead sends out a frequency to all the other nearby Orbots, making them go rogue and turning Earth into an apocalypse. That way, humanity is sure as doomed when they come back. While Warhead thinks he has control of every Orbot in existence, he forgot about Vectorman, who was flying to the sun in order to dump some sludge off. As soon as Vectorman returns, he sees the anarchy that lays before him. It's now his mission to save humanity by stopping Warhead once and for all. Good luck. Be sure to look out for some of those TV monitors. They will either give you power-ups like the ability to transform into a ticking time bomb, a swimming fish, or even a drill. Some of them even allow you to fly for a temporary little bit of time. Some of them will help you increase your weapons, like a bolo gun, which basically gives you double the bullets when you fire, and they're all roped up so that way it gives you double the damage. Some of them are rapid fire, which is perfect. Just don't abuse them because they're, well, like I've said before, temporary. Some of them will give you extra health, extra lives, which you're going to need for this game, definitely. And some of them are multipliers because it's the 90s. You gotta have the high score in order to be called cool. The only gripe I have about Vectorman 1 is the difficulty. My god, is it hard. And the worst thing is, this game has no continues, baby. If you get a game over, you have to start over. It's like Sega waving a middle finger in front of your pathetic little face. You want that $20,000 that they advertised when the game launched? Well, fuck you, buddy. Case in point, if you're gonna want to beat this game, you're gonna have balls of steel in order to do so. Because like I said, you run out of lives, you start all over. If you somehow manage to beat the game, and without cheats, because it knows when you're cheating, you get a very, simple ending that basically says Vectorman frees all the Orbots and you save the day. You're a goddamn hero. And it does a little credit roll of all the enemies you've went through and killed within the entirety of the game. And then you get a cute little credit roll of images that are bit crushed of the faces of the actual developers that made the game possible. It ended off with a sweet note, and that's how it should have ended. But then Sega wanted more, and that's how we got this fucking thing. Vectorman 2 was an entirely different beast. Rather than have Sega and Blue Sky be at the helm, they introduced another team that, well, you would think has years of experience and is quite a veteran in the gaming industry, right?
Oh wait, no, they got a 5-year-old to do it!
The game pretty much runs the same as the first Vectorman. The most you're gonna get is a different story and different enemies. The story basically is Vectorman gets shot down by a rocket and goes back to Earth. He escapes the ship and is flying a little more comfortably down to Earth, where he finds a new wave of insects that are mutated and wants to take over humanity like the Orbots did all those years ago. By years, I mean like a few months. The timeline of this game is kind of messed up. Of course, Vectorman stops everything dead in its path and saves humanity once again. This game didn't have a lot of love put into it. It felt like it was just a product that they needed to have pushed out so that way there's more people buying the game and having a market for Vectorman. It sucks that this is the last thing Sega would ever make for this series before inevitably killing it off. The game is still very much challenging, but it feels a lot less difficult than its predecessor. The sounds are a lot more unsettling. I'm gonna say this right now. When I first heard that sound in this game, I fucking laughed my goddamn ass off. I've been waiting to make this comparison for so goddamn long. You would not believe. And the bosses too. Dare I mention that one boss? Oh my god, what were they thinking? At the end of the day, Vectorman 2 was nothing more than just a shell in an attempt to make a few more extra bucks. There were plans for Vectorman 3, or Vectorman Ultra even, but those plans would be axed as times were changing for Sega. However, ...2024 turned out to be pretty fucking awesome for Vectorman fans. Vectorman 3 was revived as a project for the PlayStation 2, this time getting the prolific visionaries and developers behind Cell Damage and the Full Auto franchise, Pseudo Interactive involved. There were 3 different types of games that they were working on, a Halo-esque game, and the other 2 were more similar to what Vectorman initially was, even going as far as to using a new but somehow familiar design. Of course, if you know the story by now, the whole thing was axed by Sega, and Pseudo later went out of business in 2008. However, Pseudo Interactive did come back around 2021, but its original CEO, who was in on the revival, passed away just a year after. May he rest in peace. It's great that these 11 prototypes have been leaked on the internet and preserved, because without them, there would have been no proof or no playable way to find Vectorman 3's existence. Maybe someday we could find a way to finish what Pseudo started and finish Vectorman's book once and for all. We give Vectorman for the Sega Genesis a 9.5 out of 10. Vectorman 2 for the Genesis a 6.5 out of 10. But Vectorman 3 doesn't get a rating. It'd be unfair to rate a game that was never finished. There's nothing to fear but Sphere itself. Late. I probably should have said this in the episode, but since I still have the mic, this game, Vectorman 2, was only in North America. People in Japan and everywhere else didn't get it until these 2 fuckers came out. The one that's obsessed with that cat from Go-Go Hypergrind wants me to say that this was also in Sonic Gems collection. Some food for thought there. Shebang.